I am an Egyptian woman who has researched a lot about hijab. Why do some Muslim women not wear the hijab? Is the hijab obligatory or a traditional garment? First, to understand anything about Islam, we must refer to the Quran first, then the Sunnah, prophetic traditions. Firstly, the hijab is obligatory, and there are Quranic verses that indicate this, such as the Quran contains verses that discuss hijab. 1. Surah An-Nur, verse 31. And tell the believing women to lower their gaze and guard their private parts, and not expose their adornment, except that which necessarily appears thereof, and to wrap a portion of their head covers over their chests, and not expose their adornment, except to their husbands, their fathers. This verse instructs believing women to be modest and cover their adornments. 2nd Surah Al-Ahzab, verse 59. O Prophet, tell your wives and your daughters and the women of the believers to bring down over themselves part of their outer garments. That is more suitable, that they will be known and not be abused. And ever is Allah forgiving and merciful. This verse instructs women to cover their bodies with modest clothing, to distinguish themselves and avoid harm. These are two of the most well-known Quranic verses about hijab, emphasizing the importance of chastity and modesty in dress. Secondly, the prophetic hadith, tradition, mentions covering the hair, neck, and the rest of the body, while allowing only the face and hands to remain uncovered. Prophetic hadiths, traditions, that discuss hijab and the importance of modesty in a woman's dress. Here are some well-known hadiths related to hijab. 1. Hadith about Asma bint Abi Bakr, may Allah be pleased with her. The Prophet said, O Asma, when a woman reaches the age of menstruation, it is not appropriate that anything should be seen of her except this and this. And he pointed to his face and hands, reported by Abu Dawud. In this hadith, the Prophet clarifies that once a woman reaches puberty, she should cover all of her body except for the face and hands. These hadiths highlight the prophetic guidance regarding hijab and modesty in a woman's dress. This is what is prescribed by the Quran and Sunnah. Is the niqab, face veil, commanded by Allah? The niqab, which involves covering the face and hands, is not something Allah commanded. He did not order us to cover the face and hands. It is an extra covering that has not been specifically mentioned in the Quran and Sunnah. We adhere to the Quran and the prophetic traditions. So, why do some Muslim women not wear the hijab? 1. Lack of knowledge or awareness. Every person's religion is often determined by the religion of their parents. For example, someone might be born a Muslim but not know much about the religion or be interested in learning about it. You could be Muslim simply because your parents are Muslim, or Christian because your parents are Christian, or Jewish because your parents are Jewish, or even have no religion if your parents don't believe in any. So just because someone is Muslim, it doesn't mean they are truly knowledgeable or practicing their faith. There's a difference between being a Muslim and being a believer. A Muslim might be born into Islam, but a believer studies, searches for knowledge, and adheres to the commands of their religion, avoiding its prohibitions. That's why in the Quran, Allah often addresses the believers, who are of a higher rank than just being a Muslim in name. 2. Desire for beauty and self-expression. Some Muslim women know that the hijab is obligatory, but they love their hair and want to appear as attractive as possible. Of course, a woman's hair is considered her crown, and it makes her beautiful. The freedom to dress in a way that shows off her arms, legs, neck, chest, or any other part of her body might add to her external beauty. This is why some Muslim women choose not to wear the hijab or delay it for a while so they can follow fashion trends and enhance their beauty. As for me, I wasn't always veiled, wearing hijab, but I started wearing it recently. I knew that hijab was obligatory, but my desires and the whispers of Satan made it difficult for me to commit. I knew I was doing something wrong, and I prayed that I could overcome my desires and wear the hijab, submitting to Allah's commands. Eventually, by the grace of Allah, I was able to do so. I know I am more beautiful with my hair showing, but if we only follow our desires, we will cause corruption on earth. That's why Allah sent prophets and messengers to teach, guide, and help us follow His commands through their guidance. What is the wisdom behind hijab? 1. Obedience to Allah. It's about submitting to Allah's commands, even when they go against our desires. 2. Modesty and reducing temptation. The hijab helps minimize a woman's beauty and attractiveness, so she is not a source of temptation for men. It encourages men to look at her with respect, focusing on her personality and mind rather than her physical appearance. Personally, I want people to appreciate me for my mind, humanity, and personality, not just my body. We must remember that Allah always has wisdom behind His commands. We might not understand the wisdom now, but over time, and with advancements in knowledge, the reasons will become clear. Just like fasting in Ramadan, science later discovered the benefits of fasting for both physical and mental health, even though it took thousands of years for this to be understood. Allah, the all-knowing and all-wise, knows what we do not, and our constant pursuit of knowledge leads us to the truth. There is a verse in the Quran that encourages us to read and seek knowledge, urging us to constantly search for truth. Hijab is obligatory. It protects women from the desires of men, disciplines the soul, and emphasizes a woman's true value in her mind and personality, rather than her body being in constant competition for societal acceptance and attracting men. Does this mean Muslim women should be ugly or neglect their appearance? No, because Allah is beautiful and loves beauty. Modesty and beauty can coexist. Allah punished Adam and Eve by making them aware of their nakedness after they ate from the forbidden tree, and they tried to cover themselves with leaves. This indicates that nakedness is something disgraceful, while covering oneself is a natural, human instinct from the beginning of creation. We all know the rest of the story. Allah sent Adam and Eve down to earth to inhabit it. This isn't the main topic here. Yes, a woman should care for her appearance, body, and health for herself and for her husband, not to display it to attract men in the streets or to prove that she is the most beautiful physically. Allah is beautiful and loves beauty. This includes modest beauty through choosing appropriate, modest clothing that is neat, clean, and well coordinated, along with a pleasant scent and a healthy, fit body and mind.